2011 was another year where Mercedes ended the season as the best of the rest behind Red Bull, McLaren and Ferrari. Paul, how would you sum up Mercedes' 2011?
They should be winning races. I'm sorry, this is Mercedes, the mighty Mercedes, but they've always... I've been looking back, I've been bored and I've gone through some sickness. I've been lying in bed watching a lot of review DVDs. Mercedes have always, apart from the McLaren Championship in '98, they're always underperforming. There's always other teams around that just get the job done, mainly Ferrari, sometimes Renault, and then now Red Bull. But, I'm basing this basically in the back of the McLaren, but it was engine failures. So, of all the time they've been back since like 97, they haven't really done what you'd expect. A team like Mercedes, the manufacturer Mercedes, they should be doing what Red Bull are doing. As far as I'm concerned, they've got the weight of all of Mercedes. Not just having to go through McLaren anymore. This is their team, their chassis, their engine, their people, their star drivers. I think they should be doing better than they are. I'm not saying this is a slight against Schumacher or Rosberg, I just see it as the team. And I'm sure they hope that the Brawn years would have rolled into dominating the championship, and that's probably why they were tempted to take that team over. It hasn't happened, but good on them for sticking with it. They're not just pulling out straight away, doing a Toyota, we're not winning, we're going. Or, Toyota gave it a few years, but yeah, I'm sure they've got a 5-year plan in mind at least, if not more. But I'm sure when you hire someone like Michael Schumacher and hoping that the star of the future, Nico Rosberg, you're going to want to be winning races.
Winning races, exactly.
And I'm surprised they're not. Maybe 2013 is the crucial year for their plan. They'll know after 2013 whether they're going to stay or not. I think they're leaving McLaren are separating their ties with them. So it's going to be all this team or nothing really. But are they better at doing engines than beating a team? We're about to find out because, I still think they should be winning races. It should be Red Bull, McLaren, Ferrari, Mercedes winning races. It shouldn't just be Red Bull, and then the others scooping all the rest. But Mercedes should be taking the fight to Red Bull.
Okay. Another year where nothing to choose between both Rosberg and Schumacher.
Yes, but then that again, just by that very fact, that shows well to Nico, because he's going up against the most successful driver in Formula 1 and not coming off worse. Well, equal, which is good because of the legend that is Michael Schumacher. And I'm not meaning this bad against Schumacher because, I'm sure he's happy. This is just like a jolly for him. He's achieved more than anyone ever probably can. And he can, I'm sure, by rights, turn up and have fun in a Formula 1 car. Who else gets that chance? We all want that chance. And, still some controversy when Michael's on track, always happens. Any time he overtakes, especially when he's being overtaken, he pushes it. And you have to wonder why someone with millions of championships, millions of wins, billions of fastest laps and pole positions, why he needs to push it like that. But that's his style. That's what's got him those championships. Sometimes you just want to chill out, stop blocking, stop being quite so aggressive, and maybe you'll stop having this reputation. But he's got a ruthless streak, we all know that, but that's what's got him where he is today. And the fact that Nico Rosberg is coming up against him and not looking terrible, he's not looking like Rubens did not when he was in Ferrari, he's not looking like Eddie Irvine did. He's looking like as soon as Michael retires again, he will be the leading light of Mercedes, and hopefully when the Mercedes do win a championship, if they win a championship, it will be Rosberg that wins it, not Schumacher. Schumacher might get saying next year they have a competitive car, Schumacher might get 2 or 3 wins, Rosberg might get more and the championship. That's assuming, that they have a Red Bull sort of level of domination. But assuming they have a tight championship, they'll just probably tell Michael to be number 2 to Nico, I think, because he is the future. I think he'll be with them for a long time, no matter how, I don't see him moving to another team. Rosberg sees it's German team, German driver, German engine. I see him as their leading light, and Michael's learning from. And maybe he'll win a couple of races if the car's good next year. That's a big if, but I think Rosberg is the future.
Marks out 10 for Mercedes?
I'd say, they should be winning races, but they haven't disgraced themselves. They've not been terrible. They've been the next best team after the big 3. They should be part of the big 4, but they're not. It's the big 3 and then Mercedes and the rest. And maybe they are too spread by doing engines for McLaren and a few other teams. But maybe if they just focus on their team, maybe they do better. I don't know. It's hard to work out. I'd say 6 out of 10.
Okay.
Could do better.
Yeah, definitely. I'm sure, like you said, both Rosberg and Schumacher will be looking to challenge for race wins next year.
Yeah.
Coming on to Ferrari, they were only able to pick up 1 win throughout 2011. I'm sure much to the disappointment of the Tifosi and Luca de Montezemolo. For 2012 is going to be a massive year for Ferrari.
Yes. In my view, we've had long enough with Massa now. Okay, we'll get next year, but Massa, again, keeping the seat warm for the next Ferrari talent, I think. I don't see Massa as being the next Ferrari champion. It's Alonso. If they get a good enough car, it will all be, we know how Ferrari works. We're not stupid. Ferrari's been doing this for long enough now, since the mid-90s. If there is a championship winning potential, it will be for one driver, and it will be for Alonso, and Massa will back him up. If they've got a Red Bull level of domination, it will be Alonso winning all the races and Massa backing him up. There will be no... I see Alonso as the future, and the number 2 driver at Ferrari is perhaps the hardest thing in Formula 1, because you're not going to win. Your best you can get is second. If your teammate's on the track, you can get second. And they say, we don't do that anymore, and it's rubbish. Alonso seems to demand that where he goes. That's why he fell out with McLaren, and also that Ferrari, that's their modus operandi. For better or worse, team orders are legal. That's the way they go about it. They think that's the way to go. I'm not going to comment on that, but Massa, I think, had enough time. He came closest to the championship in 2008. That was his chance. If he'd won that championship, maybe they wouldn't have hired Alonso, or felt the need to hire Alonso. Or maybe it was already on the cards. I don't know how Formula 1 politics works behind the scenes. I do like reading the books when everyone's retired and saying, that actually happened. Oh, you mean Heinz Frentzen was always signed to Williams, even when Damien was winning a championship? Oh, okay, that explains all that then. That sort of thing. So maybe Alonso was always on the way to Ferrari, just had to go back to Renault for 2 years. But if Massa had won that 2008 championship, I think he'd have a much better chance of being the number 1 driver now, or at least at equal. But at the way Ferrari see it, and especially after his accident, sadly, a lot of his bad performances get pinned on that accident, and he hasn't really gathered himself together since then. He gets blamed on the accident a lot, but also, don't forget last year, the whole controversy over team orders happened at Hockenheim because Massa was in the lead. Massa was beating Alonso. So he did have performance last year. It's just what's happened this year. He's let the Hamilton thing get to him. He's become too stressed. I think, those collisions were contentious. I'm not going to get into them now. I think each one should be seen as its merit, not one driver's at fault for all of them. Most of them are racing accidents, apparently I did get up to it a bit. But Massa's had his time, sadly, and he will be a good number 2 for as long as Ferrari want, I think. But is that what he wants? Does he want to win races, or is he happy at Ferrari?
Ferrari car wasn't the greatest this year, but Fernando Alonso was always able to get the best out of the car, and he's probably, you have to say, along with Vettel, probably one of the most consistent performers of the year. Yeah,
that's true. He led a few races, he won one, he had good starts, he led in Spain, which
a lot of good starts.
Yeah, it's true. As I say, Alonso's not going to be happy, and this is like his Renault years, 2008 and 9, just winning the odd race and not being in contention for the championship. He still said his classic quote, he said the last 3 years, I'm still in contention for the championship by about Silverstone. I was like, you're not. He's clearly not. No one in that number 1 Red Bull isn't. He did some great overtakes, tell you that. Look at the last race in Belgium. Last race in Brazil. After Belgium and after Monza, because both races he was overtaken around the outside in classic manoeuvres. Webber went around the outside of him in Spa. Vettel went around the outside of him in Monza.
Yeah.
So he was getting annoyed he was always the one. And Hamilton went around the outside of him in Nürburgring. He was overtaken. It was like a hat trick. So he's like, that's enough. When it comes to the highlights reel of the year, the top 10 overtakes, it's going to be me getting overtaken the whole time. I need to do something here. I'm going to do one. I'm going to get on this. And then he did a great overtake in Brazil. So yeah, there's been some great overtaking this year, I have to say that. But Alonso will not be happy scooping up whenever Red Bull fail, or just winning one race. That's not enough. He wants to be part of the championship. Nothing else is good enough for him. So as I say, he's in the right team. It's Ferrari. If you're in a Ferrari, you're going to be part of the championship unless it's 2005. But apart from that, he will win more races. I know that. So Alonso is the champion. Will he be again? That's up to Ferrari, really.
Marks out 10 for Ferrari?
They did quite well. Did as best as they could, really, in the circumstances they were given. I'd say 7.5. Okay. I would have said 8, but they'd only won one race. I expected. Yeah. In my head, I thought they would have won more.
And they would have expected.
They led a lot more, especially since they led a lot more. You think one of those races, Spain, or one of the races where they just jumped ahead and led, they could have stayed there. but they didn't. So they led more races. Should have won more races, I suppose. So 7.5. But still, next year, you just cross your fingers and hope they've got something for Red Bull, and then we'll have a championship again.
Now, there were many people, including myself, who felt Jenson Button would be dominated by Lewis Hamilton at McLaren when he first joined the team. However, this year saw Jenson finish ahead of his teammate in the drivers' standings. He might not have won the drivers' championship, but Paul, this year, has to go down as one of Button's best seasons in Formula 1.
Yes, I think this year, Button... Okay, you can't say anything against Sebastian, but Button put in one of the performances of the year. I would love to give him driver of the year. You can't really say anything. Vettel is the driver of the year, obviously, but considering Jenson's reputation was, back in the Williams days, okay, he was a first year talented kid, second year the reputation was he got distracted by the toys and the trinkets of Formula 1, underperformed and wasn't really putting the work in. And then it was the BAR years, doing quite well, but always midfield driver. Then it was the bad BAR years, Honda years, when it was rear end of the grid, about 15th was the best he could do, and a few contemptuous crashes. It looked like Jenson's time was over. Maybe you're right, maybe I've been too harsh with some of the drivers I've said, their time is over, because I might have said that about Jenson back in 2008, 2007, when he had a terribly ugly Honda, horrible livery, a horrible livery, the globe one, what was that?
My Earth Dream, I think it was,
goodness. Yes. Oh, what was that? I don't want to know. No sponsorship, just a picture of the Earth. Yeah, that'll work for your campaign. But no, and then Hamilton arriving on the scene, and he even taking the British media's attention. So Jenson wasn't even getting that. Even at least when he was when the car was rubbish in the Honda years, there was only him as the British driver and Coulthard, so they were back of the grid hitting each other usually, but then they at least get to talk to Louise Goodman after the race, and people were upset for him. But then Hamilton appeared in the big bubble of publicity, and Jenson was kind of forgotten. And then Hamilton won a championship, and then McLaren and Ferrari forgot to develop their cars for the next year, and that led Honda to decide to develop their car to a race winning potential and give it to someone else, which was amazing. But so Jenson then, but the reputation was he looked into a fast car. It wasn't like he was a good driver. He did some good drives, no question. Monaco, I remember Turkey. It was a good drive. A couple of drives that year, especially Brazil that year. He did a fantastic drive. It was only about third, but he did some great overtaking. He started low down the order after that wet qualifying session where the Hulk got pole. But that was still just seen as looking into a fast car, and he was. Signing for McLaren seemed to be Lewis's team. That's a mistake. You're going to be the number 2. You're going to be the Massa. You're going to be the Barrichello to Lewis's Schumacher, to Lewis's Vettel, whatever, to Lewis's Alonso. But it didn't end up that way. Last year he won 2 races in the wet. This year he's won races in the dry. And the fact that he's managed to go to McLaren and perform as well as he has been, it's been actually amazing. It's been great to see. He's actually shown he has talent. And I think the tyres have come to him this year. I think he's more suited to Pirelli than he ever was to Bridgestone. He liked Michelin more back in the day as well, I think. But so it's a new Jenson. It's a revelation, and I think this is what more than anything. Yeah, he may have been having relationship issues, but I think more than anything, that's what's got to Hamilton. He expected McLaren to be his team and everything. And okay, he's not going to go to Alonso slowing you down in pit lane proportions, but he's got to adjust now. He's in a coalition rather than an outright government. He's in a team of 2 number ones where he expects himself to be the number 1, and I think Lewis has to reacclimatise to that. Jenson has done a fantastic job in the second best car. When the circumstances were right, he was the best driver on the track, but it wasn't very often, sadly. But he won races, which is great, and more than anyone expected, I think, and in the dry. So he's not only the best wet to dry driver or wet driver, now he can win races in the dry. So I think it's been great for Jenson's reputation this year. His stock has gone high, and hopefully he'll be more of that in 2012.
And he's done very well to adapt to life at McLaren, isn't he?
Yeah, exactly. As I say, it's just Lewis now. It's Lewis you have to worry about. He's got to bounce back. Okay, a great victory at the end of the season. Yes, Sebastian had a puncture, but still, he was there to pick up the pieces, and I think that will help him to cheer himself up a bit. Management style has been criticised and all that. I don't get into the off-track politics really, but hopefully he can keep his head in the game next year, and if he can, look out. Lewis still has some great moments. His overtake around and victory in Nürburgring was fantastic. Alonso tried to go, Vettel tried to go around the outside of him, so he knocked him off. Not knocked him off, that sounds like he crashed into him, but no, he tried to, he eased him away in a classic. It's fair. It was fair. It was a fair move. He made sure he was going to be in second. And then Alonso came out of the pits ahead of him, and he's no, I'm not having this. I'm going to try going on the outside. And Alonso hadn't been watching the replays on the diamond screen, which he should have done, and left just enough of a gap, and he went round the outside. And one of the great overtakes of the year, I have to say, and that was one of the great victories of the year. But it was too few for Lewis. Expected to be part of the championship. Sadly, no. So he got an early win in China, was it? I can't remember.
Yeah, China.
Yeah, China. He got an early win in China. He got that was good, but then it was a fallow period. So only Vettel was winning really, so he couldn't really do much else. But Button's overperformed, Hamilton's underperformed. I think for McLaren that means, well, apart from all the crashes with Massa, which again, racing incidents that were built up. When those two came together, it's just kind of inevitable. But I don't see a great rivalry in Formula 1. I don't see them carrying it on into next year. I don't see them being scared of racing each other cleanly again either. I don't see them, thinking, "Oh, here comes Massa, I'm gonna be in trouble now," or vice versa. Like, okay, here comes Lewis, he's going to hit me off or whatever. I still see it as they're over that now. He went through a bleak period, but hoping that the victory at the end of the year will have galvanised and rejuvenised Lewis Hamilton, and next year's going to be, I keep saying this, next year's going to be a lot better.
Yeah.
Can't be a lot better for everyone, someone's going to fall out, but yeah, hopefully Hamilton and Button, well, it depends on the car. McLaren have to give them a good car, and we keep saying this every year. They need to do what Red Bull do. They need to find the tricks that Red Bull do, whatever they are. I'm not saying they're illegal, it's just, they're just clever. They're just cleverer, and they need to be as clever as Red Bull, a bit cleverer, and give them a good car. Come on, let's do this.
Well, this year won't be remembered as a stellar year for Lewis Hamilton, but obviously winning in Abu Dhabi will. At least he's got something to build on.
Yeah, exactly.
And next year, we want to see the Lewis Hamilton we saw in 2007 and 2008.
Yes. Even last year's Hamilton, he faded towards the end, but there were some great wins last year. And Lewis, on his day, can be the best driver if he gets it all together. He can. He's got the overtaking of Kobayashi and the dominance of Vettel put together. He's got the Senna and Schumacher Norris put together, if I believe. But Formula 1 this year was adaptation for everyone. New tyres, new rules, DRS, KERS, everything. And it's like Lewis took a while to get on song with it. Okay, he got some wins, but then he let his head out of the game. So again, he needs to pull himself together over the off-season, sort his personal life out so he can focus. If he's focused on winning next year, focused on Formula 1, he'll be a force, and he'll be putting this year behind him. If he's still distracted by his personal life and his management, and he wants to be the new celebrity, then maybe he'll never get another championship. It's all about how he views this off-season and him refocusing on his day job in 2012.
Marks out of 10 for McLaren?
I'm going to say, I want to give them the same as Ferrari, but I'm going to say a bit more because they won more races. So I'll say 8. Okay. They did win more races. If Ferrari won a few more races, I'll give them exactly the same because they both had occasions of being number 2, like the best of the rest, and they both had a few, not enough occasions of just beating Red Bull. But as I say, just want them to make that step next year. Just it's up to them, McLaren more than anyone, I suppose, to make the step and make a fight out of the championship. Sebastian has had it all his own way now. Can we please make him work for it next year if it's going to happen again? And McLaren I see as the team to do that, and please do. It's not really biased, it's not just a British thing, it's just I don't want one guy to run away with the championship. I've never wanted one person, whether it's Alonso 2005 or Schumacher to run away with the championship. So please, I don't mind if Vettel wins again as long as he does it on the last corner of the last lap stylishly at the end of the year in Brazil. So yeah, please can we have a fight next year please, McLaren? I'm looking at you.
And finally, we end our review of 2011 with Red Bull celebrating another double.
Yes.
And fully deserved.
Yes, what else can you say? They did the hard work. They worked out the tricks, as I say, that no one else could. They worked out their car to the rule. I can't. I'm so enamoured by them. I can't get my words out. They did the best you can expect. They're probably not a number high enough on the scale. The only thing that stopped me saying they had a perfect season was weather. They should have had 2 cars. I've said a lot. All the teams should have had 2 cars winning races. But it should have been, as I said, the only tiny bad thing is it should have been McLaren 1988. It should have been them winning every race, apart from one lap back marker or something like that. But so it should have been 5. How many races did we have this year? 19. Yeah, so it should have been. I don't know, 10 to Vettel, 9 to Webber. Just like that. It should have been more interesting than it was. Why was Mark allowed to get away with what he did? He had the same car as Sebastian, better than everyone else, and still he was down there and having terrible times, appalling starts, and all that. I don't want to victimise Webber, but I do see him as keeping a seat warm for the next young charger. But maybe Red Bull don't want 2 young chargers in their team. Maybe he's doing exactly what is expected of him. I don't know. They want Sebastian to win the championship and to win the races, and Webber's just keeping out of the way. I don't know what the logic is. He's got experience. He's a good tester. He's a good party guy to have on the flight home. I don't know. But no, he seriously though, it's not been the season Webber wanted. Everyone knows that. It should be. He knows he should have been fighting Vettel. It would have been his chance to be the champion, because no other team seemed to have what Red Bull had. To only win one race is a massive disappointment, but he knows that, and he knows he's got to prove next year that it was just an issue with the tyres, and now he's okay with them, and now he's got that race, and he's got the off-season to prepare. He's going to come back fighting next year, and he'll win Melbourne. And yes, I keep saying Melbourne because I don't think the first race will be in Bahrain, but yeah, if he wins Melbourne next year, he will be champion probably, because winning your home race, it will be the first race of the year. It will be a great, amazing. I think Webber, needs these sort of results, and he's a driver that gets depressed, and that's why he wasn't, performing. Seeing Sebas win every race and him not, it must have been depressing. I get it, I'm sympathetic for that, but he needs to really perform next year, otherwise it will be his last year in Red Bull. I will say that. And
from a neutral, we want to see Webber take the fight to Seb on a regular basis.
If Red Bull can be as dominant next year, which I really hope they aren't, come on McLaren, come on Ferrari, even Mercedes, Renault, I want to see more teams winning. Last year was great. 2010 is going to be seen as a classic season, 2011 not so much, but that is because we had 3 teams and 5 drivers fighting for the championship. 2011 not so much, because we had 1 driver running away with the championship. But if Red Bull was dominant again next year, Webber's our only hope of an interesting championship. So, that's a lot of pressure to put on Mark's shoulders. I apologise, Mr. Mark, but we're looking at you, because you have to perform next year. If your team is strong, you have to take the fight to Sebastian. If your team is only as good as the rest, you have to take wins away from the other teams as well. You've got to fight Sebastian, you've got to fight Lewis and Alonso and Sebastian. We need everyone to try and take the fight to Sebastian, but number one person who has to be leading that fight is Webber. So come on, Sebastian's pretty much perfect. He's not made many mistakes this year, so you've got to pressure him, especially start now in the off season. Steal his cup of tea. Go on, do something. We need. The races themselves have been great. All the overtaking has been fantastic. I've been a fan of the format this year, but the championship wasn't, sadly, and that's what people look at first for some reason. They look at the championship battle before they look at the quality of racing, and we need that to be closer next year.
And just finally, this season, 2011, where Sebastian Vettel continued to break record after record. He's a real class act. And do you expect more of the same next year from Sebastian?
That's what I'm worried about. I mean, okay, if I was Sebastian, I'd win every race too. I wouldn't, if I was Sebastian, I'd go start on the back of the grid. I'll do the Formula 1 2011 computer game trick, the Codemasters, the computer game. I think I get enough plugs there. Do we get a free one? No, it don't work like that. It don't work like that. But no, I would start in 10th. Just don't bother go out in a third part of qualifying. Force India don't. Just go out and have a laugh and have an overtake. You can overtake when you want. He's proven this year around the outside of Alonso, he can overtake. That was a great move. Also, even in Melbourne, around the outside of Button, we forgot about that one on our around the outside moves best overtakes list. But there was a chance of someone taking the fight to him, but Sebastian was perfect pretty much. He is the complete package. It's looking to everyone else now to take it to him, but you can't say anything against him. The only thing you've got against him is his bloody finger in victory lane. All right, okay, everyone's got a trademark, but you're milking it a bit. Even Martin Brundle gave up with "look but don't stare," or whatever that rubbish catchphrase was. So at least, I'm sure he's free to say it wherever he wants next year. But Sebastian is a complete article. We've always seen that when he was in Toro Rosso and he won a race in the wet. There's can't take anything away from Sebastian this year. Just I wish someone would. Victories mainly, and so he's done well, and he's done 10 out of 10. I have to say, if I'm rating drivers 10 out of 10, when I get to rating Red Bull, we'll see what I give. But Sebastian, almost flawless, punctures aside.
Marks out of 10 for Red Bull.
9.5 because of Webber.
Okay.
Yeah, but I don't mean that cruelly. As I say, they had the best car, they had the best driver, they won both championships. And Mark didn't do a bad job. He just didn't do a job you'd expect of someone in the. If it was Ferrari and you say he was the number 2 driver, then yeah, you'd think okay that they told him to. But I don't want to keep labouring this point, but I have, and it's too late. But 9.5, just because if Webber had won like 3 more races, they'd have got a 10. But because it was only 1 race for Webber, 9.5. Otherwise, perfect.
Now the moment you've all been waiting for, 2011 Formula 1 FanCast End of Season Awards. I'd like to thank everyone who voted and casted their vote. So let's cut to the chase. First award is the Team of the Year. No real surprises here. Okay.
Is it going to be Force? Is it Force? Is it Red Bull? Is it Red Bull?
Yeah. So Formula 1 FanCast's Team of the Year are Red Bull Racing. So congratulations to everyone at Milton Keynes, and no arguing, Red Bull Team of the Year.
No. I mean, you can say some people overperformed, some people underperformed, but one team dominated, had Formula 1 by the scruff of its neck. Okay. So, yeah, you can't say anything against that. Well done, the voters.
Okay, well, moving on to our next award, which is the Most Improved Team of the Year. This might come as a little bit of a surprise. In joint third place, we've got McLaren and Toro Rosso. Second place, we've got Force India. And in first...
I'm going to say Lotus. Old Lotus.
Yeah, Team Lotus Caterham.
Yes.
That's
what I would have voted for. Yes, you're right. They're showing the signs of being the next midfield team. The other 2 teams are showing the signs of being the next Minardi and Jordan. But the Caterham, as I'll call them now, are showing the signs of being the next Sauber.
All right.
And then in a couple of years they can make the next step. If it's up to them. But for now, that's the best they can do. And I think, hopefully... the next Sauber, next Toro Rosso, whatever, hopefully next year, points on the board, please.
Okay. Next award, this will surprise you.
Oh, okay.
All right.
I don't know, you thought I was surprised the last one.
Our third award is the worst team of the year.
Oh,
right.
All right.
In third place, Williams.
Yeah, oh, okay.
Second place, HRT.
Oh, goodness. Okay, it's going to be McLaren, isn't it?
Now brace yourself. Lotus Renault GP,
the
worst team. Now
underperforming, yes, worst.
Now I would have thought, I don't mean to offend these teams by saying, now I would have thought Marussia Virgin or HRT would have been.
Well, I thought McLaren or Mercedes, because someone you expect to win races and fight for the championship, but didn't and let you down. Maybe Ferrari. I don't know. No,
I have to say I'm surprised though with Lotus Renault being.
Maybe it's the court case thing. They did lose a lot of fans, so the whole court case thing. They tried to stick it to a smaller team, and not on the track. When you go through the legal procedures, you're never really popular in Formula 1, and maybe it lost a lot of fans from that. I wouldn't say I disagree with that. Harsh. In fact, why do you have a worst award? You have to celebrate the worst. You can have a worst pit stop, I don't know.
Okay, fourth award is the Driver of the Year. Again, no major surprises. So, Formula 1 FanCast Driver of the Year is the 2 times world champion Sebastian Vettel. So, Well done, Seb. Thoroughly deserved. Next award is the Most Improved Driver of the season. In joint third, we have Adrian Sutil and Jaime Alguersuari.
Right.
Second place, Jenson Button.
Oh, okay.
And Formula 1 FanCast's Most Improved Driver of the Season award goes to Heikki Kovalainen.
Okay. There must be a lot of Lotus fans on your board, whatever.
Yeah, there must be.
Okay.
Your thoughts?
Yeah, I'll go with that. I'd say I would have gone for Button because, as I say, it's more. But maybe Button was just this good, and it's just his reputation that made people think he wasn't. And Heikki didn't get the best run of it in McLaren or Renault when it was Renault. So maybe he's been it's all depends on now really. Can he lead this team forwards? But yes, he did some good performances this year, and I would agree with that. Why not?
Okay. Best Grand Prix of the season is our next.
This is going to be easy.
Yes.
Yeah, well, it is going to be easy.
We had a lot of enjoyable Grand Prix.
Yes.
We had the likes of Monaco, which I found very, very insane.
It was so good.
It was
until the red flag.
Yeah.
Which then, with the red flag, we had time to get the rules out and go through the rules, and then we read out. It says all participants after the red flag will have a chance to change tyres, and we just went what? Because we had what do we have? We had Button hunting down Vettel. On fresher tyres, about 10 lap fresher tyres, because Vettel didn't drive a pit stop. And then we had Alonso hunting down them both on like 10 lap fresher tyres again. So it looked like Alonso could overtake them both. And with the magic of DRS, it wasn't like overtaking was out of the picture. So, yeah, till the red flag, it was the best race of the year, and then the red flag happened, and it was a complete anticlimax. Sadly, last 5 laps, only Lewis smashing around was actually worth watching.
Yeah.
So yeah,
but there could only be really one winner. So the winner, the best Grand Prix of the season, is
Canada.
Yes,
Such a Grand Prix is an endurance event, and they've changed the rules now, so it can't go on that long again. 4 hours is the maximum you can have. So if it gets past, I don't know what they do again. If it gets past, that was like
they'd probably award half points, wouldn't they?
They only did 3 laps,
I know.
or something like that, and or 6 laps. But yeah, I think they may have come back on the Monday, if Canada allows that, if the track allows it.
Okay, well, our 7th award is Rookie of the Year. I'd like to congratulate all 5 rookies who actually did a decent job in their first years.
Does Formula actually have that officially? Because I'm sure they didn't.
I know the Autosport Awards.
That's Autosport, isn't it? I don't think
sure like Formula
the
1.
FIA Gala, which apparently happened already in a country that wasn't Monaco. But yeah, it's already happened and I didn't know. But yeah, I don't think the FIA officially recognises Rookie of the Year, sadly.
But we do.
Maybe it's a new campaign for the Formula 1 FanCast. For FIA, give an award out for Rookie of the Year.
Right, well...
And points for best overtaking. Sorry, carry on.
In 3rd place, Jerome D'Ambrosio.
Okay. There's 5 and there's...
Second place, Sergio Perez.
And number
first,
1 is Paul di
Resta. Yes.
You're predictable, you lot.
So congratulations, Paul di Resta. Thoroughly deserved. Had a fantastic debut season, so well done, Paul. Our next award...
Not me.
Our next award is the best overtaking manoeuvre
there we go.
of the season.
Right, is it one of the ones that are around the outside?
I have to say, a lot of overtaking manoeuvres were suggested.
Right.
Alonso's move on the outside Jenson button at Interlagos.
That was too late for the pole, was it?
Yeah. Sebastian Vettel using the grass to get past Alonso in Monza. What else? What other great overtaking manoeuvres?
Just mention that one. Vettel around the outside of Button, Australia.
Yeah.
My favourite, I would vote for, was Hamilton around the outside of. I think there's a lot of moves get hyped. You think in 2005, Alonso went around the outside of Schumacher. Or 2006? No,
was it?
I can't remember the classic outside.
Japan.
Yeah, Japan. He went around the outside of someone in the 130R. I think it was Schumacher.
Schumacher was.
And that was seen as the greatest mover. But my favourite that year was the wet race, 2006, the next year. That's what confused me. The wet race in Hungary, when Alonso just creamed around the outside of Schumacher. And, it was like a go-karting move. It was amazing. And no one ever talks about that. It was only like the first 3 laps, but Alonso just went in Hungary. In Hungary, there was an overtaking around the outside. But yeah, I would go for Hamilton around the outside at Nürburgring. Okay. But I'm assuming, I think something like Webber on Alonso in Spa is going to win.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
So the best overtaking manoeuvre of the season, as voted by Formula 1 FanCast, is Mark Webber's tremendous move on Fernando Alonso at Eau Rouge at this year's Belgian Grand Prix. So well done, Mark. But that was a truly fantastic move, wasn't it?
Mark Webber, it's glad he won something. But no, he can race. Let's not take anything away from him. That was amazing. It's going to Eau Rouge as well. And when you humble a 2-time world champion, that is something amazing to see. It is something I hope we'll see more of. One thing we haven't mentioned is the regulations this year do allow for that sort of thing. A lot of people aren't a fan of this, but it's not just DRS that's causing overtakes. None of these moves happen with DRS as far as I know. Maybe does Webber, did they have DRS from down to Eau Rouge or after Eau Rouge? Anyway, but DRS and KERS and that, they're all weapons to use on track. A lot of DRS usage was just getting them close enough to make a move at the next corner using KERS and vice versa, So I am a big fan. The championship this year might have been a one-horse race, but the races were amazing. And that was due to the rules, all 3 rules changes: tyres, KERS, DRS, the big 3 that brought racing back on the track and out of pit lane. So thank you to Pirelli, and thank you to the FIA for that. Please don't let the teams talk you out of DRS. I know it's controversial, but I know it's going to come up at some point. They're going to try and get rid of it. But please keep what we have now, because I think it's the best format Formula 1 has ever had, including the turbo era, which people look back at romantically. But yeah, Formula 1 was addicted to aerodynamics for so long, and DRS is the cure, and KERS. So we can... There's still, still say it didn't change anything. The best guy won the championship, the best car won, but it was a lot more fun on the way. So please keep these rules for 2012 and beyond.
And you have to give credit for the job Pirelli have done this year.
Yes, I hope they stick around too.
Okay. Well, 9th award is the 2012 team to watch out for. In joint 3rd, we've got McLaren and Ferrari. In joint second, we got Lotus F1,
Yep.
Renault, and Force India. And in first place, the 2012 team to watch out for is Caterham, Team Lotus. Go along with that?
We've got a lot of fans of Caterham, haven't we?
Definitely.
I'm glad they've got a fan base. Maybe they can make more off merchandising and than they will off the TV revenue. But I think they are the feel-good team that people want to. They have the best livery, apart from when they crashed 10 seconds out of the pit lane. That was funny. But apart from that, they are the team people want to succeed more than anything. Yeah, fancy livery's on a Virgin, but I think the team people want to carry on. So yeah, good luck to them in 2012.
And our final award is the funniest moment of the season award. Jenson Button going into the Red Bull pit lane at the Chinese Grand Prix was one of them.
Yeah.
Eddie Jordan calling Sir Paul McCartney George.
That is my favourite.
Also, Rowan Atkinson's reaction to Lewis Hamilton's incident with Felipe Massa in India.
Yeah, that's already most people's avatars on Racing Forward.
And talking of Hamilton and Massa, they had 6 collisions in the 2011 season, and that has actually been voted as the funniest moment of the season.
Really?
It has, yeah. So
don't forget the Marshall falling over in Canada.
Yes,
that was actually a bit dangerous.
It
was 2 actually, one in qualifying and one in the race.
Yeah,
but, yeah. Marshall's falling over is always bizarrely hilarious because they do a great job, but they're always so keen to get to the accident that they trip themselves up. I've watched Racing Compilation, that Mo Walker DVD that he put out a couple of years ago, and there's a couple of crashes in there. There's actually quite a few where Marshalls just fall over. I was so surprised at the enormity of the crash. Whoa, when they fall over. But yeah, Marshall's falling over. It's slapstick, but it's funny. And I was trying to work out what my funniest moment was. I think Martin Brundle's catchphrase, "Look but never stare," is cringeworthily hilarious, and there was a few hilarious moments.
Okay. Well, thank you, Paul, for coming in to review Formula 1 season. Thank you to everyone who voted and put forward their votes. If you want to listen to the podcast again, you can do so by visiting www.youtube.com/themanishsem.
Probably in about 3 parts.
Yes. And you can also keep up to date with latest Formula 1 news by visiting www.formula1fancast.com. And you can have your say on the season by commenting on our Facebook page, facebook.com/Formula 1 FanCast, and Twitter @Formula 1 FanCast.
Paul Hadsley on Twitter.
Paul Hadsley, and me @Baggies20.
Yeah. And if you disagree with me, then please let me know. Say just try and tell me why you hate me. Don't just tweet me saying I hate you. Okay, I disagree with your opinions on Mark Webber. Fine. At least you let me know that I'll forget about all this in about a day. So yeah, I'd like to hear your opinions on my opinions. Come on, @Paul Hadsley.
But for now, from me and Paul, adios.
Bye.